Okay, so I went ahead and sewed the third square starting. So we're gonna go ahead and sew the other side. And remember, you want your square lined up pretty even.
What do you want to spend on the new place? What's your max
budget? And then you pin.
350 is our top budget, but 300 would be better, and 250 would be great.
Look fantastic.
I love it.
Okay, so I went ahead and did all of the corners. Now we're going to do the triangle part, and I will show you how to do that. That's why I say you need 6 squares.
Oh, yes.
4 of them will be for the corners, and the other 2 you cut in half for the triangles.
Oh, it's so open.
One of the biggest transformations for me is this beautiful flow in your kitchen. You also have a great sideline in your dining space.
And this square is 24 by 24. So what I do is just fold it corner to corner.
Very pretty.
Is it marble? Is it quartz? This is actually quartz. It's made to look like marble.
Press it there a little bit.
I love that you have the casual seating here for a breakfast bar.
Yes.
Now hold up. I want you to take a look at the tile on the back of the Highland and tell me what you think.
Yep, that's that tile. It's just really loud and busy.
It's got personality. You'd think somebody with as much personality as you have would like personality. Everyone has different taste, but I'm telling you right now, buyers are going to look at that and they're going to say, that is upscale, it's gorgeous.
It looks good all together.
This is stuff that I wouldn't have picked out, but goes so well in here.
It's so beautiful, and I'm just kind of sad that we're going to be leaving. We have memories in this home, thinking about Colton sliding down that banister.
It's family. I mean, it's all these memories you have with your family that you're going to miss in this house, but the great thing is you can create new memories in your new house.
No, it's great. It's great.
What do you think, Adina?
It's like a lot. Like, we've been so stressed out through all of this, and then we're so excited. It's like a roller coaster of emotion.
It is a lot. I mean, renovations are stressful. Buying a home is stressful. Selling a home is stressful. The one thing that'll keep you positive is we haven't even seen everything yet.
I know.
We still have a master bedroom that looks fantastic.
There's your triangles.
I love the floors.
The walls were really dark, and this is so beautiful.
This is now a stylish space. And if you notice too, no more king bed. Downsizing the bed a little bit actually makes the room feel bigger.
Well, good thing we're moving to another house, because I cannot do the king bed.
I think that's it. We don't have to see anything else in here, so we'll just...
Wait just a minute. What about this bathroom?
Get on in there.
Okay. Oh, look at this. Oh, my gosh. Oh, that's
Get it up, baby.
nice.
This before was an eyesore. Now, I think this is a bathroom that anybody would love to have. This was the most dated room in the entire house, with the old vanity in the mirror. It was looking a little dated before, but large scale tile, the tub, it just makes it feel so much bigger. Let's head back into the main area, and I want to go over all the numbers with you guys. All right.
Okay, and then you just line up where you finger pressed it in the middle.
We did stick to our timeline. We did spend a little bit more because of those stairs.
Right.
So that was $4,000 on top of the original $37,000 budget. So all in, it was a $41,000 makeover. We got it done in 4 weeks.
That's unbelievable. Really. The whole house was done down here.
There was some frustration on your end when I told you what I felt the original value of the home was. Before the work was done, $280,000. I didn't think that was reasonable at all, the way houses are out on the market right now.
Yeah.
Now that we put that money into the house, in my opinion, we can easily get $350 for this house.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, that's what we needed here, because we'll be able to get the house that we want.
Yeah.
Now, we do have that house that you love, that new build home.
Yes.
And we put an offer in at $330,000, including the jetted tub.
Right.
I did hear back from the listing agent.
Okay.
It's the most important meal of the year.
Happy Thanksgiving!
Cooking for you a feast that will stuff the competition.
This is the turkey I wish my mother would cook.
Your mother's watching.
All new. Ultimate Thanksgiving.
Okay, then you just
Tonight at 9.
put your quilt, your top back on the table.
Your everyday neutrals with bold patterns and rich textures. Brought to you by Overstock.com, where quality costs less. Getting Getting your home ready for the holidays doesn't have to be stressful.
And we're gonna do the same thing as we did with the squares.
Shop beautiful home furnishings and decor, all at great prices from the comfort of your
So-
home, so you can get back to the things that really matter. Because even the most seasoned pro can use a little help during the holidays. Overstock.com. Your holiday brighter, merrier, easier.
See, you can see the tip there. This one I didn't.
The spider's web. It's a gripping, visually impressive thriller. 4 stars.
Someone said, yeah.
Claire's toy is explosive.
Make sure it lays nice
Watch as your child
and
begins
flat
the journey
there.
to standing and walking with the Stroll and Discover Activity Walker. Interactive play features lights and sounds to keep little minds learning for hours. Part of a fun-filled family of toys. From VTech, batteries not included, each sold separately.
Then we just do the same thing as we did with the squares, but only with triangles. Make sure you line up those corners good. See, your green corner to your black corner.
But Allstate helps you with DriveWise. Feedback that helps you drive safer, and that could lower your costs.
Spin
Now
it.
that you know the truth, are you in your hands?
Olay Deep Hydrating Eye Gel breaks through the competition. Olay Eyes with B3 Complex hydrates better than $100, $200, even $400 eye creams. That's something to see. Olay. The Lennox Eye Comfort S30 thermostat can sense changes in your environment. It even knows when you come and go. So now your home's most important system is also the smartest. Receive up to $1,600 in rebates on a qualifying home comfort system from Lennox. Proud sponsor of the HGTV Urban Oasis 2018.
Now, we do have that new build home.
Yes.
Yes. I did hear back from the listing agent. They accepted your price, $330,000.
All right. Hey, what do you think about that?
Good, I was like, what?
Yeah, I'm excited. You just bought a house.
You're
You
right.
gotta get this sold.
I'm listing it tonight.
Okay.
The first open house is going to be in a couple of days, so please make sure that Colton and Madison keep it clean.
We'll stay in the basement. Yeah, we're not going to get up here and mess
We'll
with
just
it
stay in
at
the
all.
basement, yeah.
I'm so excited for you guys. There is going to be a frenzy of buyers looking at this place.
Fingers
Thank you.
crossed.
See ya. Oh, wow.
These stairs are nice.
Yeah, well, like the banister. Oh, look how open this is. I love it.
With the bar area and this dining area, sits a lot of people.
And when you do these corners, I usually just fold it
Oh, this is gorgeous.
back a little bit, the same as your seam line,
This is perfection.
and pin it, because when you sew it here, you're gonna feel down here where you need to stop. You don't want to sew it, overlap it, otherwise you'll have to use your seam ripper to get those extra stitches out.
Ruin anything until the house is sold. I trust them.
He goes,
I have 2 offers.
Okay, we'll go ahead and sew that.
Yes. $350,000.
Okay.
okay.
And $355,000.
All right.
You guys right now. Unless
It
we
is.
can
I
get
think it does make
Okay, so I went ahead and
it less stressful if things flow better.
Yeah, we
sewed
definitely work.
that.
Come on into
So
the
now
dining
we
area. I'd
just
like you to walk across here to eat.
fold it over, and then we fold this one on over to there.
It's a nice novelty idea when we got the
And
house.
remember, we line up our corners.
Definitely don't, so it's kind of
There's
just
the
a nice
corner
source of
there.
enough space.
Yeah, it's just weird.
And the
this is
green
obviously
corner.
an addition. This house would have originally had the front door right here.
I think so, especially because our front hall closet ends up sort of right here at the back door at the dining room.
Make sure your
That's the front hall closet.
triangle is laying
Does not work.
fairly
Nobody's
flat,
like this.
so you
They're
get
gonna
a
see the kitchen, they're gonna
good
see the table,
fit.
they're gonna see no function, see you later.
Yeah.
The other thing too is a 2-bedroom home.
You know, it's worked so far with the kids sharing a bedroom, but it's definitely running out of its lifespan, and it's not enough
Yeah,
space
it
for
would
all of
definitely
us.
be nice to have in our new house 4 bedrooms at least.
Fortunately,
For the people who are looking for a house this size, we can make this a top contender. Right now, literally most people are going to come in here and they're going to just do the... the left. Oh, tight. It's as tight as the front entrance. This is it.
Here we go.
Okay. Do one of you spray tan?
No.
Because there's like this sort of orangey tint on the walls. Yeah, I think it's just over the years, it's just, yeah.
Any of the work that I've done in there hasn't really panned out too good.
What did you do?
I tried to do a bit of caulking in there several times with the tub, didn't work too good. That's my handiwork trying to install that ceiling fan there, and I don't think it's actually exhausting any moisture out of there.
No, you can see all the humidity on the walls, the staining on the walls. So that means that there's an excess of humidity that needs to be removed. You have no drawers, you have no countertop space, and this is you and all the kids that have to use this space for daycare.
This is our nightmare incarnate.
I'd love to have a master bathroom so I could have my own space so that when I am having a bath, I don't have people constantly coming in and out, the kids knocking on the door asking to come in.
Right, there's just too many of you. Families need to have a little separation. You need more storage. That's what you really
Absolutely.
do. I kind of feel like I'm in a steam room. It's sort of musty and hot in here. So why don't we get out of here and head outside and talk numbers?
So welcome to our tiny backyard. We spend a lot of time out here, even though there's not a lot of space.
It's actually size appropriate for the house, because I think, you know, anyone who's coming to find a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home will actually look at this and say, wow, this is nice.
We're looking for something, though, with a nicer yard, a little more space.
More of everything. You need bigger kitchen, bigger bathroom, more bathrooms, more bedrooms, bigger area for the kids.
Yeah,
right.
That's right.
What do you want to spend on a new place?
The new house, I think the most we'd like to stretch is up to about $900,000.
Remember,
So we'll talk about that.
you fold this one
Values of this house right
over,
With the current market, that we think that we could get somewhere in the area.
Fold it
650,
over.
I think, for the house, 650,000.
now. Really? Where do you come up with that number?
and then you pin it, because you can feel where the seam ends, where you need to stop sewing.
Use Star Money with no merchandise exclusions. Now at Macy's.
Oh, she don't see the light that's shining deeper than the eyes can find.
You'll be able to feel that. And also too, remember, when you've sewn one side on, you can see, you can look here and see where you should start sewing is at the end of
Figure out what car to get. Now,
this one.
the best
See?
deal. What's that?
Car Gurus, 2 grand below market value, 5-star dealer rating.
And you'll be able to tell on this side too, where this one stops, then you start sewing from this corner.
Floors at the same time. Dry messes, wet messes, it even works on area rugs. To see it in action and get a special offer, go to BissellCrosswave.com. Bissell.
So,
Okay, so
show up. Demolition starts.
there's how you get your triangle in. And then once it's in, you just move on over and do the next one. And remember, if it's, get down, get down, get down. And remember, if it's not even here, see how it doesn't match up? You have to fold over your corners.
To your very own? Yeah? Your very own bedroom?
You're gonna have a hard time in the single apartment.
Oh, I don't know. I think it'll be a little tricky, yeah.
And
but
then just
just 4 weeks. So.
trim it. See, normally Toby lays on this table. Except when I'm sewing
I'm imagining that you guys
big
either
things.
stressing like mad trying to get everything out of here, or so excited to smash this house apart.
So he's probably
We want to reclaim this
mad.
space into what will be our dining room. Behind this wall, we've got 3 closets. One on this side, one on the wall
Then
there,
just
one in
trim
the back,
it off.
coming out. But I don't know what's going on here with the structure. So once it's all opened up, we'll know what we're dealing with. But for right now, I think we just need to start stripping down the plasterboard. Let's do this. Each.
Make sure it's even with the other part. And then you just rotate it and do the next triangle. Remember, if you fold it over,
you know what? We can dream, right? Any cash yet?
No cash yet.
because you want that corner there.
We're getting there, we're getting there.
And I fold it the same way as the seam is, which makes it easier for it to lay more flat.
Alright, that is weird.
Then we just
So this is a load-bearing wall. At some point,
triangle,
this would have been carried probably by
fold
a
it
load
over,
right here. They decided to just cut this off
and
put a piece of MDF.
line it up with that corner.
See that it's dipping right here. Of course, when buyers are walking in, if they see anything that looks like a structural problem, right away they take big bucks. Fortunately, though, this will not cost us any more money because I already plan to raise it up, and that'll correct the issue for them. This, on the other hand, I don't even know what we're dealing with.
Pin it so the corner doesn't move.
We have multiple different ceilings. There's sort of the middle of the road one. There's a higher ceiling up there. We have this piece going across here, which is the ceiling for the closet. This is load bearing with the roof structure, so we're going to have to clear it all out and just have the engineer take a look and tell us if we need a beam or not. If we do need a beam, we'll be looking at several $1,000s. Yeah. If you won the lottery,
If you don't trim your corners there, your triangle will come out lopsided, and you'll have to just seam rip it back apart.
Great question. See, with full service brokers like ours, that's tough to do.
Schwab does it.
Next question.
Do you offer a satisfaction guarantee? A satisfaction guarantee, like Schwab does.
What are you teaching these kids?
Ask your broker if they offer award-winning full service and low costs backed by a satisfaction guarantee. If you don't like their answer, ask again at Schwab. In nature, water always finds the perfect fit. At home, we create it for you. Water designs our life. Who designs for water? The water decides when it stops.
And remember, easier if this is folded over.
Until you start. Water designs our life. Who designs for water?
Take a moment to unwind.
Because you can feel where you're supposed to stop sewing there.
Melting center. From the Lift Master Chocolatiers. Lindor. Only from Lift.
Some of them will donate those. The ones that are
Okay, so we went and we
but once we do transform this to a mudroom, it'll make much more sense.
got this side done. So now we're going to fold it over
Now that we're relocating the kitchen, I can steal an extra
so we can sew the opposite side.
And of course, we know impressive bathrooms and kitchens are what sell houses. So clearly, this is not load bearing. Do not drop it on your toe.
Remember, line up your tips.
Exactly what we can get for our buck.
Yeah, like it's kind of frustrating to have to move to a house that
We're gonna go ahead and pin this one.
Would you want to go back out to a rental spot again for a bit?
No, definitely not.
Well,
And you want your fabric to line up with the majority of your line. So if you have a little bit of an excess, that's okay, because you want to follow as close to your
When we were digging around in the
edge here as you can.
electrical is ungrounded,
which is dangerous because that can cause a fire. So we're going to need to replace a lot of the wiring to bring it up to code.
My electrician said he figured it was probably going to be an extra $3,000
above what's already budgeted.
Oh my gosh.
It's just killer because we have so many extra costs right now with our rental apartment.
I guess if it has to be done, it has to be done.
We dodged the bullet with the structure,
But at the end of the day, you're making all the right decisions.
to get more money out of this house, this is just one of those hurdles.
Okay.
Okay, thanks guys. I'll let you know if I have any other good news.
Okay, perfect. Take care.
Bye.
This is why we need turnkey. Because as soon as you start opening up walls and doing anything, that's all you ever do is find more problems, more money that needs to be spent.
Yeah.
This is a perfect window. Look at our big tree. House Hunters is changing the lives of 8 families with moments you'll have to see to believe.
Will you marry me?
An all-new House Hunters.
Okay, so then you just go ahead and sew that.
It's the ultimate Black Friday appliance sale, which is
In this headline, hi Theo.
State House.
Okay, so I have this triangle laid out.
One Minnesota. Walls reached
Turn
out
it
to his
over.
opponents. I need to be the governor for them too. I need to listen to what they have to say. Bring them in.
If Governor-elect Walz is genuine about that, we will find some things that we can do.
Republican Senate Leader Paul Gazelka is listening because his party kept a one-seat advantage in the Senate. Gazelka's Democrats picked up 16 seats in the metro alone. Down ballot
Okay, so I'm going to give you a close-up here.
Metro by a margin nearly 3 times wider than Mark Dayton had 4 years ago.
How you line up
So
the
many
tips.
ways we are a politically divided state.
Can.
Hamlin University professor David Schultz says it adds complications at the Capitol. For the incoming governor,
is he able to figure out how to
And you'll
really
see
put
there
sort of real teeth
that they're
or
both
meat to
lined
that
up
phrase
really
for one
nice.
and for Republicans.
So you want to
We're
keep
gonna
that
see
like
either
that.
compromise, which I think is unlikely, or more
And
likely,
pin
we're
it
gonna
in
see
place.
both parties already setting up for the 2020 legislative elections.
It will be a busy day at the Capitol tomorrow. Governor-elect Tim Walz is scheduled to talk with reporters for the first time since he met Theo Keith, Fox 9.
Okay, so now you just line it up again and
Yeah, Dave Hutchinson declaring victory over incumbent Rich
Pin it
Stanek to take over the role. Fox
down
News
and
Paul
sew
joins
it
us live
1/4
from
inch.
the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office. And Paul, you spoke with the apparent new sheriff in town. We say apparent because at last
this
word...
appears to be one of the biggest upsets of
So-
election 2018, at least locally. But in a lot of ways, this race not quite decided yet, and that's because longtime Sheriff Rich Stanek says it's just too close to call.
I'm in the car with Dave Hutchinson, also known as Hutch.
We first met Dave Hutchinson out on the campaign trail through a couple quirky social media videos celebrating his catchy Hutch nickname.
Congratulations. Thank you very much. We're proud of you. We're proud of you. You can do a hell of a job.
On Wednesday, Hutch was welcomed to Minneapolis City Hall by Mayor Jacob Fry, the apparent Hennepin County Sheriff-elect, ready to get to work with an emphasis on protecting the region's immigrant community.
My promise has always been immigrants, no matter what they're doing here, what their documentation status is, you can come to the sheriff's office for help.
It's that issue of immigration and whether local law enforcement should work in concert with federal ICE agents that helped Hutch to his apparent victory over longtime Sheriff Rich Stanek. Apparent because Sheriff Stanek...
So remember, sew it at 1/4 inch.
Results have Hutch, a veteran sergeant with the Metro Transit Police Department.
All right, Lauren Blanchard live.
Okay, so we sewed that one
For the
side.
first time in 8 years, Wisconsin is getting a new governor.
Then we just flip it over and
Conceding this afternoon to Democrat Tony Evers.
do the
He
same
lost
to
by
this
around
side.
31,000 votes, and while his campaign had expressed concern
Line it up real
about
good
2,000
there.
absentee ballots in Milwaukee.
And remember, you can start from here
There were not
sewing.
enough votes in question to change the outcome of the race. Now, Evers says he's looking forward to working with Republican legislative leaders to find some common ground and help the people of Wisconsin.
And I'm eager to begin work with them in the near future on helping find ways to solve the problems that are facing the state of Wisconsin.
Evers says he will start putting together his transition team and cabinet in the coming days.
While Democrats captured the Wisconsin governor's office and Senator Tammy Baldwin was reelected, they are crying foul now after failing to take the state legislature. Republicans maintain control of the Wisconsin Assembly and Senate. The Democrats say this is proof the GOP drew unfair district boundaries in order to consolidate power. A lawsuit was filed 3 years ago arguing the Wisconsin district map was unconstitutional. The Supreme Court declined to hear that lawsuit. A new one was filed last month, and it is set for trial in April.
Funeral arrangements have been set for the 3 Girl Scouts and mother killed in a hit and run in Wisconsin.
And the 4 were killed Saturday as they picked up trash along a highway. The mother and daughter killed will have a joint funeral tomorrow, and then the final funeral will be held on Saturday. Vehicular homicide charges have been filed against 21-year-old Colton True, who police say inhaled chemical vapors before crashing his truck into them.
A 61-year-old Crystal man is in life-threatening condition after he was struck by 4 cars this morning.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and sew that.
Boulevard. When it was disabled and left the road, faced
All right, so now we have
a lot of different things. Shortly after the
all of the
Mr. Trump tweeted the news and said of Sessions,
corners and the triangles filled in. So the next step will be
but less than a month after being confirmed as
to
Attorney
kind of
General,
straighten
Sessions
it out a
angered the
little
president
bit.
by recusing himself from overseeing the Russia
And
investigation.
that's a little bit tricky here.
The Department had advised him to do so because of his contacts with Russian Ambassador Sergei
So-
Kislyak during the 2016 campaign. The president has railed against the move ever since, frequently disparaging
What I
Sessions on
basically
Twitter
do
as very weak. Jeff Sessions never took control of the
is take my ruler,
it's a sort of an incredible thing.
a white tip pen,
For many reasons. After
so you
Sessions'
can
recusal,
see
Deputy
what
Attorney
you're
General
doing.
Rod Rosenstein took over the Russia probe as special counsel Robert Mueller indicted 35 people and companies,
And
including
then
some of
I
the president's top
measure
campaign officials. But now Rosenstein will likely also
from
be
the
sidelined.
corner of
Newly
the
appointed
star.
Acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker will oversee the investigation. Whitaker, Sessions' chief of staff and a former U.S. attorney from Iowa, has been critical of the Russia probe in the past
half.
and has written that it could
Half
become a
an
political
inch.
fishing expedition. In this interview, he spoke about the president's criticism of Sessions.
It's clear that the president's trying to put enough pressure
So
on
you
Jeff
just
Sessions
go
so that
around.
Jeff does what the president, I believe, would think would just be honorable.
And
Even though
measure
Whitaker's
that
thinking
half
appears to be in
inch.
line with the president's thinking as far as the
And
Russia
me,
investigation is concerned, Mr. Trump tweeted today that he will be nominating someone else at a later
I
date.
like
One
the
potential candidate,
square
Lindsey Graham, appeared
outside.
to suggest today that he will not be
So-
interested in the job, saying that he will stay in the Senate. Jeff.
Okay, Jeff Pegues outside the DOJ tonight.
Measure
Jeff
that
thanks.
half
The
inch.
Democratic leaders of the House and Senate immediately called on Whitaker to recuse himself from Robert Mueller's Russia investigation. Paula Reed has been covering that from the very start. She is in Arizona tonight, where she was covering the Senate race. But Paula, you've been covering Jeff Sessions now for 2 years.
just
What does
go
this mean
around
for the
and-
future of this investigation?
all of the ones,
Well, clearly the
the
White House wanted new
triangles.
leadership to oversee the special counsel investigation. If they
You
were happy with the
measure
job that
half
Rosenstein
inch.
was doing, they would have left him in charge. So now the question is, why Whitaker? Well, before Whitaker joined Sessions' staff, he was publicly critical of the special counsel investigation. He suggested
Wrangell Island in the Chukchi Sea.
Okay, so we left off, and I had went ahead and marked
Approximately 200 females delivered their 0.6
each of the corners so we could square it up, and I marked it at
As with most mammals,
a half an inch all the way around.
hopelessly secluded
So
until the first Arctic sun comes out at the end of June.
then I fold it back, and so it's placed on one of the lines here.
The cub by now weighs over 10 kilograms, coated with a fluffy fur and ready to
And
puff
because I don't have a big enough pad or a ruler, I kind of improvise here a little bit.
The cub will take another 12
So-
hours to actually leave the safety of the den. The same is happening with some neighbors.
That's lined up, so we'll go ahead and cut, because I want to get up to the 3-inch up on the top of the mat.
Two cubs, but one has a little chance of survival. The mother needs to find food after fasting for the whole winter. This means that from now on, some chances are to be taken. Like coming across some hungry males that would kill the babies in no time. Nonetheless, it's time to move on. Scientists have a strong interest in cubs as much as they do in male bears. So they shoot a dart at mum to then fit a radio collar around her neck to collect more data as to the breeding habits of the Siberian bear.
Then I just line it up as best as I can.
Hugging and holding this cub wouldn't be possible if the mother was awake. Done with the job, the baby is secured into her mum's warm belly fur.
Fold it over a little bit so I know where to mark my line.
3 months later, and likely the second cub must have been killed by some male. But the one left is apparently very healthy and seems to be ready
That
to
on the
learn some real seal
3-inch mark.
At 2,
Try and line it up as best as I can on this side.
this time around, it's not really enacting sneaky moves quite yet. And the seal is soon gone. Luckily, there's always mum to fall back on for a minute.
Sometimes my pad is not long enough, so
Throughout the English countryside,
cut that from the inside there.
gerbils have just arrived. After a 9-month pregnancy,
And then I move it down.
newborns just a few days ago, and they won't leave the cozy safety of the den any time before the spring season's in full swing.
So that it lines up here on the 3
Now let's check out what happens with the wild woodland babies 100 miles southwest of London to the New Forest, which actually is over 1,000 years old.
Then I'll just go ahead and
great for any outdoors. This is where the rogue of many English tales lives, the red fox. This vixen is rushing back to the den where her 3-week-old cubs are waiting for her. The mother is the cub's entire world and existence. Dad
go ahead and line it up.
Yet he provides the vixen with food which she'll constantly transform into the milk her babies will be sucking.
You'll have to eyeball it up to the top here,
Like adults, but nothing will really
unless you
change
have a
as they won't come to the
big
surface
pad.
as it's much warmer outside. May looks like the perfect time of the season to enjoy life in the blooming New Forest. The bluebell carpets are nature's welcome to the new season, and England has a name for this type of flower around the world. Although engrossed in a fairy tale, we shouldn't miss out on a mother rabbit munching on these tender flowers. Like the vixen, she's just had 2 babies, 2 little kids. In her case, though, there's no male bringing in food, and the mother has to feed herself as much as possible to, in turn,
what I
produce
call square.
going out in the
I don't know
open,
if
she's more
it's
exposed to
actually
perils.
square, but
So as the fox cubs approach their 6th week in the
so
den,
then we
their
move
cubs
on
turn
over
red,
to
and they are now eating meat.
this side.
Rabbit. Like often with carnivores, there's a pecking order with food. Stronger cubs earn the right to eat first and more. venture outside and become more familiar with their future little realm. On the woodland floor, some badger cubs also show up from the den. But these amusing youngsters seem to have picked up some sort of itchy parasites. Running and playing around is a
Then
way
you
to train
just
their legs
kinda
and get ready for their future hunting tasks.
lay it flat, make sure your cut line is on the 3-inch.
Woodland mothers would take any chances. A mandarin duck is another denizen of the New Forest and has smartly nested higher up in a tree hollow so to stay out of trouble. Now the ducklings are ready for their first takeoff and landing, like a spring.
And I try and, when I line it up on the 3-inch mark here,
There's still fluffy cushion underneath makes them resilient enough.
I try and make sure that it's kind of lined up here too on this side.
So the ducklings teeter off to the closest pond.
So there we go.
After sunset, you can find a nice bed and breakfast hotel in the New Forest. Where there
So I just follow the 3-inch mark here.
of the night. So as it gets darker, it's the perfect time for some frolic through the park.
And then just line it up on top there. And then turn it around and we do the same thing. So I will go ahead and line up all of these.
For cave systems and for the, alas, shrinking tropical forests, the habitat to the unique orangutan. These cute babies will be clinging onto their mothers for as long as 10 years. That's quite some time. We'll go find the reason why it's...
I need a bigger space here.
On the lazy side of Borneo, 24 kilometers west of Sandakan from the beach, and here we find their haven. At Sepilok, you get to see many of these orang orphans, and feeding time at the sanctuary is quite a spectacle. The meaning of orangutan is man of the forest in Malay, and how can you not acknowledge their resemblance to human babies while taking a bath? Unfortunately, these orphans are the result of man's activities like deforestation or hunting or the pet trade, and without their mothers, there's no way for them to survive in the forest. Sepilok's rangers play a crucial role in this stretch of the jungle as surrogate mums for years to come. Oddly enough, they have to teach them all about orang life in the wild if they want to have a chance of releasing these babies somewhere in time.
There's probably a simpler way to do this,
It's quintessential to their safety at
but
such height over the forest
I
camp.
haven't found it.
They start as babies
Or I
by
haven't
clinging
tried
onto their
looking
mother's
for
bellies
it.
for almost a year. This baby can only rely on its mother's milk for the first months, to then be slowly turned over to solid foods picked from the trees. But that has to be pre-chewed into a pulp so as to feed the baby. They are proven to be highly intelligent primates. They choose what they like best, and that's something a baby orang has to learn. Details like where that particular fruit is located and when it's ripe are part of the teaching. Before picking it off, this baby needs to actually be able to grab it. At about
cut
one,
it.
the baby makes its first attempts at climbing a bit. Even older individuals have to fumble around in order to get the best possible grip. 6, they are rather independent, so much so that they need to put together their own pads, possibly one for the afternoon snooze and one for the night. Tree branches and leaves is what nests are made of, and it takes some technique to shape them. I thought Mum would do it like this. Mum has recently had a new baby, so our youngster can only keep trying and master its skill. At last it seems that this little guy has been able to get to the point and make its own nest bed. It's so rewarding. Now it's time to chill out.
So we kind of got a little bit of our half-inch here, and you'll see sometimes your fabric will align itself with a half-inch. I'm not quite sure why that does that, but
Kangaroos are unique mammals that hold their babies in mum's pouch, where they also grow up.
so you just line it up again.
And lead for a while quite a dynamic pouch life that is worth checking out.
3.
In order to meet some kangaroos with their joeys, we should take a journey to the red centre of the Australian continent. There's a lot of different landscapes to this gigantic island, from the parched outback to rainforests, scented eucalyptus groves, mountain scenery and big cities. Throughout this wide environment, many are the exclusive Australian mammals of all shapes and
Then you
sizes.
can move it down so you line up with the other side.
We'll be focusing more on the childhood and the life of the kangaroo. National symbol of Australia and outnumbering humans by 3 to 1 more or less. Koalas and kangaroos belong to the marsupials.
Okay, it's all lined up on the
babies are born earlier than
number
other
3 mark.
at an earlier stage of growth. Pocketed inside their mother's pouch, they will spend the very first months right in there, nowhere to be seen. Only around the 8th month, these babies make their early attempts to pop out of the pouch after summoning up some courage.
See, and it's starting to look nice and even. So you just keep on going.
This guy is way too scared. It'll take time and self-confidence will come along slowly.
Kind of getting exciting because
Joey
we're
is soon to
almost
learn all the tricks needed to survive in the world outside the pouch, like keeping cool by licking its forearms under the Aussie
adding
scathing
the
sun.
final layers.
The baby is now big enough to live on the outside, but its instinct keeps driving it back into the pouch, although the mother tightens the muscles not to let it back in, yet the joey will just stay by her side and suckle. After a lengthy 14 months, what if mum's not around then? In Australia, more than 20,000 accidents a year are reported involving cars and roofs. It's no surprise that the joey inside the pouch survives its mum. It will have to be adopted by human foster parents to help it live through childhood in farms and sanctuaries. Many are even open to the public. In this farmhouse in Adelaide, these orphans have become an active part of an extended family and thrive inside some pouch-shaped heated blankets. Once weaned, these youngsters seem to fully appreciate lots of yummy goodies. Above all, garlic bread is delicious. These animals are very gregarious, and back in the wild they gather in mobs consisting of as many as 100 individuals. Thus this concept applies to orphans too. The joeys spend time playing together this way, implementing their social nature, an aspect that will prevail also back into the wild, to then form a new mob. distant Amazon basin is rife with some weird species. Well, if you happen to live here, things might look more ordinary, but in our eye, most of this wildlife is very peculiar. A bizarre-looking guy is the capybara, which we're going to meet in the muddy Brazilian nature reserve larger than Texas. Is located inside the state of Mato Grosso. The two local airports are Campo Grande and Cuiabá. April through October is the perfect time to visit. This largest rodent's babies live with the parents for 15 months, yet often snakes come in the way. Many will be the perils that baby capybaras will have to cope with right from birth. As the newborn moves its first steps, hideous neighbours are already hassling its existence. This baby hasn't even had a chance to suckle, and these vultures have gathered to feast on it. Generally, only 1 in 20 infants survive, so it's hard to beat the odds. Hopefully this mum knows how to see them off. The vultures just linger around, totally undeterred. Waterside is a much safer nursery away from vultures. On top of that, there are many other watchful mothers around. They are all busy teaching their 2-week-old babies how to swim. This weird-looking rodent is equipped with tight-shut nostrils and webbed feet to adapt to water life. This is quite useful, but won't make their lives any safer if caimans are around. A baby capybara makes just a juicy morsel. Wetlands inhabited by the capybaras are sited further north in the Amazon jungle, where there's an array of other weird babies like the giant river otter, whose cubs are usually given birth when the waters of the flooded forests are lower, between September and October. Coatis belong to the family of raccoons. Grooming is at the basics of their life, yet this baby loves it dirty. Another lovely furball is the cub of the spectacled bear, likely to be the most primitive of living bear species. These youngsters are striving to get a hold of a juicy boy. Sloths take it easy and slow all the way, yet their babies have to wean in a month or so and start eating solid food. Up on the tree canopy.
Now, because this one we didn't have to cut, because it's already at a 1/2 inch, so we're just lining this side up to match, because sometimes these rectangles will go crooked a little bit, and I'm not quite sure why. So one end may be longer than the other end. So then it evens out.
Lion cubs are at number 4. In a year of fun and frolic,
Nice.
they learn how to switch from being playful to killer instinct. Although spread all over the African continent, lions are best found in Kenya, where most visitors actually head to. This is their nursery ground, but dangers can always loom on the horizon for the cubs of the king. There Masai Mara is a conservation area as wide as 1,813 square kilometers, inhabited by the Masai people and their kids who happen to share this stretch of land with our lion cubs. So it takes a bit of luck and a good enough guide to catch a glimpse of very young cubs. The mother is usually very protective and keeps them hidden far off the turmoil of the pride. These 4-month-olds are completely clueless, and all they can do is suckle mother's milk. It'll take another month before the lioness decides to come out in the open and let them meet the rest of the family. We can only watch the older cousins play at this point. Families and cubs live in extended groups, which also includes aunties, other females basically involved in the protection and care of the youngsters of this such sociable cat. Yet cubs are not completely out of danger. Chances are that other males ready to mate will be in to kill the already existing cubs. Not in this case, since this big one is the father to the cubs of this same pride. So far, so good. The 2-month-old cubs have joined the adults. The lioness is still taking some more time off the unrest of the surroundings, but threats can be around the corner without warning. In their roaming, a herd of buffaloes happen to bump into the pride almost by chance. These herbivores have a bad temper, further enhanced by a short eyesight, which spurs them to stampede around trying to tread on everything. Having smelled the lion's presence, they are ready to go all the way and stomp on the defenseless cubs, which luckily manage to scatter away. Mothers and fathers try to draw the buffalo's attention, but it's not working out. No other cubs are in sight, so the buffalo finally decides to leave. It's time to call the cubs and see where they're hiding to get them all back.
So when we're cutting to even it up here, you want to make sure that this side evens up here too. So that way you know it's kind of square.
Surprisingly, the rest of the litter remained unscathed, and the cubs are happily back with the mums. Before long, these youngsters will become powerful predators. They are now familiar with meat, and with a little more of mother's care, they will soon be leading their own lives. There's so much about India's culture and history to learn, yet cities are so crowded and they look like urban jungles. And here we find a not very well-mannered primate, the Hanuman Langua monkey. Their babies are raised in a matriarchal society of sisters and aunts led by one adult male, Dad. Their childhood lasts as long as 3 years, and the young female offspring won't ever leave the group. Eventually, all the sons will have to depart from the sisterhood, forced out by the dominant male. So, we're heading to Jodhpur in western Rajasthan, where the Hindu people of this 500-year-old town worship the Hanuman Languas as the living images of Hanuman, the monkey god. The babies basically rule the place, and can easily be found on the rooftops, like they own them. Not unlike humans, these urban monkeys have to develop their own street knowledge to face adulthood. Then there's also a way to deal with neighbours, to spot out the best watering hole and which good restaurants they can easily get some decent food from. Some monkeys would just like to keep playing all day long. Most of the time they have fun, although they happen to loiter around some hazardous places. Many babies lose their lives to electrocution here in Jaipur. Hindu residents pay homage to this fallen little deity, almost like they would do with a human baby. Langwar mothers try to keep a watchdog eye on their naughty offspring, but this isn't always enough when an outsider male tries to take over the troop. The new fierce leader won't let any of its predecessors' sons live in history. So the older boys, already weaned off their mothers, can't help but flee the scene and venture into a completely new life. This new freedom isn't all that bad, though. But tomorrow is a new day, and it will bring on some new challenges they now have to face as bachelors. Fluffy fur counts a great deal in drawing attention and looking cute, which is the case of our number 8 on the countdown, the sea otter pups.
I think
Healthy
we're done.
fur and plenty of good food seem to go hand in hand for these babies.
All
They
the
live in
lines
northern
are
California, along a picturesque
squared up.
coastline between the classy neighborhood of Carmel and Pacific Grove, famous for the Monterey Aquarium and historic Cannery Road.
Okay,
The perfect place to see
so now
the newborns usually weigh between
we gotta move to the floor.
kgs and are given birth January through March. They spend most of their early days on mum's bellies, almost incessantly. These small marine mammals are not covered with any fat, so the only barrier they have against the cold waters of the Pacific is their...
All right, so now we're moved into the living room. And what I do is I just go ahead and I pre-buy a sheet at Walmart. It's easier than doing your own background, unless you really want to get you know, if it's for somebody special or something like that. But and then buying the pre-bought backing helps me to know what size I'm doing. So, and I just kind of line it up and towards the middle like this. And also, if you're gonna add any borders or anything, now's the time that you would put your borders on. If you want it like a different color border or something. So just kind of even it out a little bit here. And if it's a little bumpy, that's okay, because once you quilt it, it won't show that. Okay. So then what I do is I measure each side. So that's probably about 8 inches on that side. Then I'll measure the other side. And that's about 8 inches, so you got 8 inches each side. And then I measure the top. It's about 14 inches on top. And 14 inches on the bottom. So now what I do is I'll take my top back in the sewing room and I'll cut out my borders. Okay, so we know how much we need on each side and on the bottom and top. So if you wanted to add a border, because you'll have extra stripping left over from your star, so if you wanted to add a border, I always pick more of the more plentiful of the strip color. And so we'll put a border on around it. So then you have to remember it was 8 inches each side, and these are 3-inch strips, so you minus 3 inches, so you have 5 inches of the green that you need. And then on top you have 14 inches each side minus the 3 inches, so you need 11 inches of the green for your sides. So we'll go ahead and we'll have to sew, I believe, a couple of these borders together to equal, so you need 2, 4, 6, 8 colors. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you'll have some of this left over a little bit.
Our aim is always to try and put orphans we receive back into the world.
So if you want to go ahead and sew your borders together, you can even press them out so they're a little bit more not so lumpy. And I'll see you when we get done with the borders.
We have to make sure that the age difference are not that big. Luckily